Imagine being like a master manipulator.
Yeah.
You know, you have the charm, you have the perfectly calibrated scripts, the exact playbook to make almost anyone fall for you.
You've literally done it 100 times before.
Right. But right now, you are trapped in your childhood bedroom. You're sweating, staring at a dating app on your phone, and you are just absolutely paralyzed.
Yeah. And the reason why it's fascinating, it's because you know that someone else has already predicted the exact button you were about to push.
It's wild. Welcome to today's deep dive, everyone. We are stepping into the middle of a live, real-time case study today. It is essentially a behavioral pressure cooker.
That's a great way to put it. Our subject today is someone with narcissistic personality disorder, or NPD, and he is currently spending the summer back in his hometown. We'll just call it B-Town for now.
Right, he's living with his parents.
Yeah.
And he has roughly 2 months left of having to maintain this perfectly curated, totally normal family image.
But underneath that domestic surface, there is an absolute war raging inside his head. The notes we are analyzing refer to it as a system conflict.
Yeah, and to really grasp what's happening here, I want to bring up this concept from 18th century philosophy. Have you ever heard of the panopticon?
Oh, the Jeremy Bentham prison design.
Exactly. So it was a circular building with a guard tower in the dead center, and all the prisoner cells are lit up around the outside. But the genius, and I mean the terror of the design, is that the prisoners can never see inside the tower.
Right. They have no idea if the guard is actually watching them at any given moment or if the tower is just completely empty.
Yeah, so because they don't know if they're being watched, they have to assume they're always being watched, they end up policing themselves.
The guard doesn't even need to be there, and that is exactly what our subject is experiencing. He has realized he is trapped in a psychological panopticon.
He knows this external analyst is watching him, analyzing him, mapping out all his moves, and he's completely internalized that gaze.
So this system conflict we're dissecting, it's this agonizing tug of war. On one side, you have his underlying psychological code, which is this compulsive, endless need for new narcissistic supply and sexual conquest.
And on the other side, it's just this paralyzing fear of the external monitor.
Exactly. But we need to make a really crucial distinction right here. The subject is currently hesitating, holding back on his usual predatory behaviors, but do not mistake this hesitation for like a moral awakening.
Oh, definitely not. He hasn't suddenly decided to be the good guy.
Not at all. I mean, with his skills, his resources, finding short-term sexual partners on social apps in B-Town would be incredibly easy for him. The capability is there. The desire is fully intact.
It honestly reminds me of how highly sophisticated malicious software operates. Like if you have a deep-rooted virus on your computer and it detects that your antivirus program is running a scan.
It doesn't become benign.
Right. The malware doesn't stop wanting to corrupt your system, it just freezes. It suspends operations purely to avoid detection. The underlying code hasn't changed one bit.
That is the perfect analogy. His compulsion is temporarily paused just because he is terrified. And he's not terrified of getting rejected by a target. He's terrified of generating data for his own psychological autopsy.
Wow. Yeah, he's dreading that the analyst will predict his next move and just document it. But wait, I have a question about this. If his environment is temporary, like he's just waiting for a window of opportunity when his parents leave or whatever, how long can a narcissist actually suppress their core programming before they crack?
Yeah, well, the short answer is they can't. Not long term. The NPD instinct cannot be suppressed forever. This hesitation is purely tactical. He hasn't stopped hunting at all.
He's just looking for a new blind spot.
Exactly. He's desperately searching for an operational path that he thinks the analyst hasn't already foreseen.
Which brings us to his tactical pivot. He has to run this underlying code, so he starts exploring alternative hunting grounds, essentially executing Plan B. And the notes break down 3 highly calculated options he considers.
Yeah, let's look at the first one. It's what we call the low-risk historical pool, basically targeting former middle school or high school classmates who are still living around B-Town.
Okay, so why them specifically?
Because reactivating old connections requires zero new relationship building. He doesn't have to spin up a new persona or leave a fresh digital footprint. He can just use a super casual, low-cost script.
Something like, I'm home for the summer and suddenly thought of you.
Exactly. If she responds, great, hit apply. If not, it's just a blip, no alarms triggered.
But what if that well is dry? Or maybe hitting up people close to his family's social circle is just too risky. What's option 2?
Then he moves to the shadows. Anonymous hunting grounds, location-based apps like Momo or Tantan.
Because they leave no public records tied to his real identity.
Right, it's completely siloed from his family life. But here's the fascinating part. If he goes this route, he completely shifts his target demographic. Instead of younger women, he specifically targets older women, wives, mothers.
And the clinical reasoning for that is just so dark, but honestly, it makes total sense for his situation, right?
It's flawlessly logical for him. Older women might be financially stable, but emotionally vulnerable, maybe feeling unseen in their marriages. They present a different kind of psychological lock. He just needs the right key.
And the sources show us the exact key he uses. He feeds them scripts like, I appreciate your maturity, or you make me feel safe.
Which is such a potent manipulation tactic.
Why does that specific phrase, you make me feel safe, work so well?
Because it artificially inverts the power dynamic. Culturally, the man is often expected to be the protector, right? By playing the younger, vulnerable man seeking safety, he completely disarms her natural defenses.
Oh, wow. So he makes her feel protective of him.
Exactly. And when someone feels protective, their guard against predatory behavior just completely drops. It's predatory camouflage. Plus, older targets are way less likely to demand a public commitment or a long-term narrative.
Right. A married woman isn't going to ask to meet his parents or want to post him on her social media.
Exactly. It keeps the whole thing invisible to the analyst.
Okay, but what if he doesn't want to risk the apps at all? What's the third option?
Option 3 is recycling existing resources. Reaching back out to a previous target, the notes refer to one specific past target as 045.
Right, he sends her a text message. Something like, late night insomnia, suddenly missing you.
Yeah, and if 045 responds, boom, instant sexual supply without risking any exposure to a brand new target.
I mean, just listening to this. It is so incredibly pragmatic and cold. It sounds less like a human looking for connection and more like a logistics manager trying to optimize the supply chain. Does he even see these women as people or just as risk-adjusted resources?
From a clinical perspective, dealing with severe NPD, they are basically appliances to him.
Appliances, wow.
Yeah, I mean, you don't build a mutual relationship with your refrigerator. You just open it when you're hungry. He's starving for supply, and he's calculating which B-Town appliance is least likely to alert the monitor.
That is chilling. And because he knows he's being watched, This paranoia fundamentally alters the style of his operations, right? It's not just who he targets, it's how.
Exactly. We see this total behavioral metamorphosis. Speed and stealth become everything. He becomes completely obsessed with digital hygiene, deleting photos, clearing chat histories, constantly syncing across platforms.
Because he knows any public info could be read by the analyst.
And the tragedy for him here is the loss of ritual. In the past, he would do these elaborate theatrical seductions. The notes mention this highly ritualized antique first meeting he did with 045.
Yeah, like a whole grand performance.
But now his interactions have to be rapid, erasable, and purely transactional. He can't build complex long-term illusions anymore.
Because keeping up a complex narrative like playing the romantic younger man requires sharing personal details. And personal details equal data leakage.
Exactly. Data is his enemy right now.
But wait, isn't there a paradox here? Narcissists usually thrive on the grand performance, right? The adoration, the elaborate setup. If he's forced to strip all that theater away just to stay hidden, isn't he starving himself of the very narcissistic supply he's trying to get?
That is the ultimate trap he's in. Yes, he is absolutely starving himself. And it leads to this intense psychological toll that the sources call performer's fatigue.
Performance fatigue. So he's just exhausted.
Completely, because every single time he initiates contact with a new target, there's this phantom monitor in his head. He's asking himself, is she writing about me again? Did she predict I'd say this?
So he's manipulating the woman in front of him while simultaneously defending against an analyst who isn't even in the room.
Exactly. And the analyst's predictions, like mentioning Momo or Tantan or the older women or the classmates, they aren't just random guesses. They are logical, mathematical extensions of his own behavioral patterns.
Which means, even if he succeeds, even if he gets the hookup, the victory is totally hollow.
Right, the thrill of the conquest is ruined. He doesn't feel like this victorious mastermind predator anymore. He just feels like a lab rat running a maze the analyst built for him.
Wow. And realizing his new moves were already predicted acts like cold water on his impulses. There's this one micro moment from the sources that just paints such a cinematic picture of this.
Oh, the late night app moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Imagine him, late at night in B-Town. The house is quiet. He opens a dating app, scrolls through a few nearby profiles, and then bam, he just abruptly closes it.
And it's not because he lost his appetite for the hunt.
No, it's because the moment he opened it, a thought just completely paralyzed him. He hears the analyst's voice saying, "You will write in your analysis." On a summer night, he opened the app, looked, and exited.
It's brilliant. He realizes that even the act of looking was predicted. He is trapped in his own predictable loops.
So where does this all end? Like, we know he can't stay well-behaved forever because the underlying code demands to be run.
Yeah, that is the ultimate tragedy of his condition. Eventually, the dam is going to break. In the dead of some night, his compulsive urge for supply is going to overpower that paralyzing fear.
He's going to make his move.
He has to. But the ironic part is, when he finally does make his move, he still won't have escaped the analyst's predictive net. Whatever path he chooses, it's already been mapped out.
It's so fascinating to think about. I mean, for you listening, if you've ever dealt with someone who has these rigid, toxic psychological patterns, predicting their moves becomes the ultimate way to disarm them.
Absolutely, you don't have to fight them head on. Just deeply understanding their patterns and letting them know they are seen, it exhausts them into submission.
It strips away their power completely, which leaves us with a really provocative final thought to mull over. If simply being deeply understood and accurately predicted is enough to strip a master manipulator of all their power and just exhaust them, what does that actually reveal about the illusion of free will in people who operate purely on these toxic compulsions?
That's the real question.
Yeah, are they ever really making conscious choices? Or are they literally just running a script waiting to be decoded?